Alrighty, thought I'd do a little update real quick. No turning projects this week. I'm on the road to SWAT, going around Austin. Looking forward to what's going on this weekend. Get to see some old friends, maybe make some new ones, and meet Sam Angelo. That'll be cool. Be good to see Carl again. I'm gonna give him thunder about his beard. We'll do a comparison. I'll try to get a video of that too.
In 2 miles, TX 130 north is on the left.
Anyway, that's really all I got. I'll do more, and we'll put a little thing together of what's going on when we get there. Show you some of the highlights. I'll be back. So here we are at the convention center. Haven't gone up to registration yet. This is where Don Ward will be doing his, I don't know, 15th or 19th year of hands-on pen turning. More live demos over here. Classrooms back over here. And back over here. The big classrooms for the heavy hitters are upstairs. Let's go up to registration. They're not open yet, but and there's Vince's Wooden Wonders. That's the registration desk. It'll open in a minute. Fred Wisson, P-Town subby. All set up and ready to go. And what do you know? The man himself, Captain Eddie, getting ready to talk to Tim over here. And the vendor area and art gallery. And the fun begins. Oh, look. It's my buddy Todd Raines and Shelly. How you guys doing?
Good, Billy.
Just some of the vendors here. Frugal vacuum chuck. I bought his last year. It's a good chuck. Arizona Carbide. And Ken Nelson and Callanchan Woods. And if you need good Alumilite blanks, whether they're solid Alumilite or whether or not they're hybrids, this guy here, Gene Soto, good friend of mine, has some of the best made in the United States. Just top quality stuff. Say hi, Gene.
Hello, folks. How you doing?
Good stuff. Carl carrying a box. This is Ken Rizza, the guy to go to if you need CBN wheels or sanding kits. Wood Turner's Wonders. There's his website. I got all my CBN wheels and the ultimate sanding system from him. That's who you want to see. For those of you that have seen Dreadnought Workshop on YouTube, this is the guy behind the video. Say hi, Daryl.
Hi Daryl.
He's here at the Starbond booth today.
You gotta make sure you get some footage of my check bag approved show lathe.
Okay, I'll come check that out later.
With it's got forward and reverse and variable speed.
Hey, Doug. We heard you were kind of down in the weather, buddy.
I hope you get well soon, Dan, and you're back making videos soon. Take care.
Yeah, take care. Beard's coming along nice, dude.
Thank you very much. You got a nice little beard yourself.
Well, thank you. Mine's better, though.
Mine's gonna be better.
I just cut the shop tiles in half, and then I cut them into 1-inch strips. Makes for a convenient application. I usually do all these projects here, have 12 coats of finish on them. It's not a magic number, it's just I like to put a lot on it because I want to be able to be fairly aggressive when I sand the finish back to get rid of the ridges as I prepare to do buffing and things like that. Start with my variable speed lathe there. And you want to do this, you want to apply it slow. Because the thin has a tendency to fly all over the place if you do it too fast. So you take the towel, put a little bit on here. Yes, this is the thin. It'll probably be a little easier on the way.
So you want to rotate slow, you don't want to rotate fast?
Right, because this stuff is really thin like water. And if you had, I've not had it where it hasn't, I've never had it come off the lathe at me doing a finish, but some people apply it on top. And if you do that, then almost certainly it'll. Right. I have a textured face shield. I have a textured face shield at home right now.
Yep.
Yep.
Don't we all?
It'd be hard to comb your hair if it's stuck together.
Oh, yeah.
Well, stay in place.
I don't always use accelerator, but typically I'll use it after the first coat, based on the fact that sometimes it doesn't, the first coat won't cure, especially with certain types of wood. So let's go ahead and rinse that real quick. And then the rest of these coats, I'm going to do them all one right after the other.
I'm sure in the most of these for the boat behind you, right? Okay. What they've done is they've taken the basic one behind you, and they tried to put it on the ball. So when you find that clean coat, now we're going to put it on.
That's the thing.
Where do you get those gloves?
You can buy these at Walmart in the household cleaning section.
Okay.
Pack of 120 is like $1.
Costco, yeah.
Costco has them.
Yeah, 1,000 in the
Or if you got a friend that works in the cafeteria, have them bring you some.
I was going to say restaurant supply.
But this builds up really fast. As you can see, you don't really need to give it much time in between coats.
That's why I was wondering about something big, because it dries so fast, and you wind up getting stuck on there or something.
No, interestingly enough, in my experience, I've noticed that doing it this way, once you put it in the towel, it gives you a pretty fair amount of time to work with it, and then it seems like as soon as you pull it off the workpiece, it starts to set up. But I've never had it sticky, and I've done. The biggest piece I've done is probably this tall. There's a gentleman in our club. He did a hollow form about that big out of box elder, and he did the finish of CA as well, using the same application. So you know, if you weren't doing a demo and talking through it, you could probably do the 12 coats in less than 5 minutes. And I'm really frugal, so I use each one of these 3 cups.
Would you use the same size applicator if you were doing that top?
Yes, sir. I would. The first coats, if you're doing something that big, the thing, it's gonna be, you're not gonna be able to go from end to end because the wood is gonna be thirsty at the beginning, right? So you may have to go, you know, maybe a third of the way or half the way, depending on how big it is. And actually, most of the time I can just apply more. If you do it right away, you can apply more to that same spot and continue. But that first coat, you're definitely going to have to do that. But once you get the first coat or two on and the surface is sealed, then you'll see that it'll travel past, it'll go from end to end, no problem. No, you don't need to do that. In fact, there's been times where I've used the CA as a sealer for other things. Particularly when I work with this piece right here is made out of spalted maple, and this tree came down during Hurricane Irma in Florida, in my neighborhood, and for whatever reason, even though it's maple, when you cut it cross grain on a saw, this is what it looks like, right? So it's all punky and whatever, and the thin CA travels through this like nobody's business, right? So sometimes I'll use this as a pre-sealer to make sure that I can, if I got a difficult spot that won't stay down, I use it as a pre-sealer. I use it as a pre-sealer to help, make my sanding more good. But you don't need anything else. You just go straight from raw wood to it. And as you can see, that's pretty good. That's pretty good in a couple of minutes, right? And you already have, this is probably a finish that's good enough. You really could end it there. But usually what I do is I take some wet dry automotive sandpaper, and then I'll go ahead and sand it back, because even though this is nice and shiny, it's not quite the same as this, because with any clear finish, really, if you want it optically clear, you have to have a flat surface. It doesn't matter what kind of application you use, there's going to be some texture to the surface, all right? So then that's why you use this, and what you do is you use your sandpaper, and what you want to do is you want to sand it until it's no longer shiny. But if you look at this, now you have dull spots and you have little shiny spots. The little shiny spots are the low areas, right? So depending on how optically clear you want your finish to be, whether you're making something for a craft show or maybe you're making something for a jury show or something like that, if it matters, if it's an art show, you want to definitely get it as flat as you can. So basically you want to sand it until it's flat, and then at that point you can either add another coat or you can take it to a buffer and buff it out. But that's pretty much it. Pretty easy, right? Yeah. And you guys can pass
Good
that around.
information.
Cool, thanks, Daryl. And here's Sean from Worth the Effort Woodworking walking around SWAT. Tim's cleaning up his mess.
You're making your money off this on YouTube, I share it.
And it's the lovely Rebecca DeGroot again. Well, last day at SWAT. Been to one session already this morning. Sam Angelo's thread chasing. It's been really cool. One thing that's been really surreal is, really surreal. I've got people walking by me or coming up to me and calling me by name that I've never met in my life. But I've been having a really good show. Loving every minute of it. If you ever get a chance, come to SWAT. I guarantee you, you will not regret it. This last little bit is just a photo collage of some of my friends. You may recognize Jeff Hornung from the Walnut Log. You also will probably recognize Alan Lacer. And let's not forget Curtis Seebeck. He is the guy that brought Alumilite and cactus juice to the wood turning community. Okay, SWAT's over. Headed home. Almost there, actually. Got about an hour and, well, depending on traffic, hour and 10 minutes, hour and a half. Had a great time. Got to see some old friends. Made some new friends. A lot of cool makers, a lot of cool turners. And I'm already looking forward to going back again next year. So, if you haven't been to SWAT, try to make it a point to get there. If you have been to SWAT, then you probably know what I'm talking about. Well worth the money, well worth the trip. I guarantee you'll learn something. I guarantee you'll have a good time. So thanks for watching. Y'all come back, see us here at the Messy Studio. You never know what we're going to be doing, but I've got some good ideas to get me going now, so y'all come back.